Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports here on the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network. It's great to be with you on this October 12th, Columbus Day 2020. Some of you guys may be off of work today. It's a federal holiday. That's right. I'm working. And you can't even imagine all I'm trying to get done as I multitask through my second Monday in October. We've got the ALCS, that's right, I did get it right. ALCS started Sunday night. We have one game under our belt. The NLCS starts tonight. Over the weekend, my beloved Yankees were eliminated from the playoffs, so now I can watch the Astros and the Rays go at it. I can watch the Dodgers and the Braves go at it and just enjoy some baseball. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes, but I want to talk about the NFL yesterday, and we had our first firing, if you will, of the season. The Falcons have really had a tough start to the year. They have begun 0-5. It doesn't get much tougher than that, and in doing so, they've not looked really good. Against Dallas, I don't know if you watched any of the game, but an onside kick, because I don't think they knew the rules, was the cause of their demise. And ever since then, they have just played a little more lackluster each week. Well, Sunday night, Atlanta Falcons GM Thomas Dimitroff and Coach Dan Quinn both relieved of their duties. Rich McKay has assumed day-to-day oversight of football operations, and an interim head coach is expected to be announced today. This was done Sunday night. President and CEO Rich McKay assuming the day-to-day oversight of football operations. Wow. And the Falcons travel to Minnesota to face the Vikings on the 18th. And McKay said this, quoting, "We are moving forward and we will do everything we can to help this year's team win as many games as possible while putting a strong plan in place to execute these important leadership searches with an eye to positioning the Falcons for success well into the future. Period. We owe that to our fans," end of quote. Well, Dimitroff, he joined the Falcons in 2008. He's played a key role in a period of unmatched success in the history of the Falcon franchise. Since his arrival in 2008, the Falcons have won 109 games, been to the playoffs 6 times, and won the NFC Championship in 2016. His draft picks, well, they've been such notables as Matt Ryan, the quarterback, Julio Jones, Grady Jarrett, Deion Jones, and since 2008, the Falcons rank 8th in the NFL and 4th in the NFC in wins. Coach Quinn led the Falcons since the beginning of the 2015 season. He had an overall record of 43 wins and 42 losses. In 2016, the Falcons finished 11-5 under Quinn and went on to win the NFC Championship over Green Bay before losing to New England in Super Bowl 51. They returned to the playoffs the following year, making Atlanta the only NFC team to do that, returning to the playoffs the following year after going to the Super Bowl. They defeated the Rams and then lost a close game to Philadelphia. But this year's just been an incredible drop-off. They lose again yesterday. We're going to go over some of the games from Sunday. And, well, that's one of the reasons why I got fired, right? So, anyway, a lot of exciting games yesterday. I can't wait to talk about one particular game. We'll talk about that. I tell you, we'll do that almost first. How about that? But the Falcons did lose yesterday to the Panthers. Panthers moved to 3-2. The Falcons are 0-5. Panthers win 23-16. Bridgewater throws for over 300 yards. And the Falcons, Matt Ryan just was not good yesterday at all. Let's look at those stats for the Falcons. Matt Ryan He went 21 of 37, 226 yards, no touchdown passes. He had one interception. Todd Gurley carried the ball 14 times for 121 yards, 8.6 yards per carry. And Calvin Ridley caught 8 passes for 136 yards. And let me tell you, that's the highlight. If you're a fantasy player and you had such Falcons as Russell Gage, 2 catches, 16 yards, Olamide Zaccheaus, 1 catch, 13 yards, or tight end Hayden Hurst, who has been a very much so disappointment his first year in Atlanta. He only had 2 receptions yesterday for 8 yards. Ooh, that just sounds ugly, doesn't it? So Atlanta falling to 0-5. Panthers are now 3-2. And as we look at those Panther players again, I told you Bridgewater had gone over 300 yards yesterday, which is huge. And you know, they've been without McCaffrey, but Davis has really been a great performer, filling in for McCaffrey. Bridgewater went 27-37, 313 yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks. Davis carried the ball 16 times for 89 yards yesterday. That's a 5.6 yard per carry. And then in receiving the ball, look, Robbie Anderson's been a fantasy dream, probably not even drafted in a lot of leagues. He caught 8 balls yesterday for 112 yards, no scores. DJ Moore, 4 catches for 93 yards and a touch. And Mike Davis caught 9 balls for 60 yards and a touchdown. So Davis has filled in for McCaffrey and really picked up where McCaffrey left off. There's no doubt about it. Game of the day yesterday. Let's go ahead. I've waited as long as I can, right? Game of the day on Sunday were my Raiders. Commitment to excellence, baby. That's right. And my Raiders, well, they went to Kansas City. The Raiders came in at 2-2. The Chiefs were 4-0. That's right. The Chiefs haven't lost since November of 2019. And it's a game in Kansas City. The Chiefs jump off 7-3. At halftime, it's 24-24. Neither team scores in the third quarter. The Raiders win the fourth quarter 16-8. The Raiders win the game. The Raiders improved to 3-2, winning in Kansas City yesterday. The Chiefs fall to 4-1. And does the power swing in the AFC West? Derek Carr goes 22 of 31 with 347 yards, 3 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs rushed 23 times for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. And when he wasn't running the ball, Devontae Booker carried 7 times for 62 yards. That's an 8.9 yard per carry average. Raiders 3-2. Chiefs 4-1. Wow, what a game. Chargers and Saints play tonight at 8:15. Bills and Titans play Tuesday at 7 o'clock. 2 undefeated teams, the Bills and the Titans. Other games from Sunday, the Rams and the Washington football team. The Rams move to 4-1. And the Washington team falls to 1-4. They're no longer the Redskins. They're just the Washington football team. Statistic-wise, Jared Goff for the Rams, 21 of 30. 70% passing, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cam Akers rushes 9 times for 61 yards. Darrell Henderson, 15 for 38. Catching the ball, it was split up fairly well. Gerald Everett, 4 catches for 90 yards out of the tight end position. Higbee only 2 for 12 yesterday. Robert Woods, 4 for 71 and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 5 for 66. And Josh Reynolds, 2 for 46. So he was throwing the ball around to anybody and everybody on the team. Meanwhile, Washington, starting Kyle Allen, not the story of the game. The story of the game is Kyle Allen came out, and Alex Smith, who had a catastrophic injury, it should have ended his career. Alex Smith, 2 years ago, Alex Smith came into the game, went 9 of 17 passing. And I mean, if you are just a casual sports fan, you don't know Alex Smith's story, go look it up. Go Google Alex Smith. Look up what he has gone through in the past, 2 years, just the recovery process. And the chances of him getting back to the NFL were very, very slim. But he did it. He had a life-threatening leg injury, not just a leg injury, but a life-threatening leg injury almost 2 years ago. Got in the game yesterday. What happened to him? He sustained this leg injury after being sacked in a game between the Redskins and the Texans in November 2018. He suffered a spiral and compound fracture to his right tibia and fibula. He has undergone 17 surgeries since this injury, fighting for his life. He became septic, had no way to fight off infection. He nearly had to have his leg amputated. And if you want to go watch it on ESPN, there's a documentary called Project 11. And I would guarantee you no player has ever been through what Alex Smith went through, not just to play football again, guys, but to live. And, we enjoy our sports. We love our sports. But when it comes down to it, nothing's like life. And Alex Smith, if you don't feel good knowing about Alex Smith's story, well, there's not much that's going to make you feel good. Let's just put it that way. Rams win yesterday 30-10, but the big story there is Alex Smith coming back. Eagles and Steelers. Steelers go to 4-0 for the first time since Terry Bradshaw was quarterback, Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris were running backs, and Swan and Stallworth were wide receivers. 1979 is how long it's been since the Steelers went to 4-0. They beat the Eagles yesterday, 38-29 in a high-scoring affair. First, let's look at the Eagles stats. Carson Wentz went 20 for 35 with 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miles Sanders, 11 carries for 80 yards. But here's the real key. The Eagles have been looking for a go-to guy through the air, and I think they found one yesterday. Travis Fulgham. That's right. Write that name down. If he's out there on waivers, I say go get him. Travis Fulgham caught 10 balls for 152 yards and a touch yesterday for the Eagles against a very good Steeler defense. The Steelers, Roethlisberger went 27 for 34, 239 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Connors scored a touchdown, rushed the ball 15 times for 44 yards. Chase Claypool had a rushing touchdown, but Claypool also had 3 receiving touchdowns. Now, I think that's sort of a aberration, if you will. Eric Ebron, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington, Ray McLeod, Deontay Johnson, they're all going to be in the passing attack. Yesterday, Philadelphia seemed to leave Chase Claypool wide open. I watched the game, a lot of it, and he caught 11. He had 11 targets, caught 7 balls. The thing about the Steelers, they have the players to spread around the wealth, and they did it yesterday. How many of you guys are Jets fans? Not a good year. Now, is it? Not at all. Yesterday, the Jets go to 0-5. They lose to the Cardinals 30-10. Let's look at some statistics, if you will, from the Jets-Cardinals game. The Jets are just horrific. Yesterday, Flacco's their quarterback. Are you kidding me? Flacco goes 18 for 33, 195 yards. Le'Veon Bell rushes 13 times for 60 yards. Their number 1 target yesterday was Jamison Crowder, 8 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown. The only touchdown of the game. Meanwhile, Cardinals are putting up 30